So throughout the semester, I teach evidence, and one area that always trips students up is the difference between a statement by a party opponent and a declaration against interest. So let's take a minute and think about where they fit into the federal rules, look at some examples to keep them distinct, and walk away feeling confident in this tricky area of the law. A statement by party opponent is just that. It's a statement made by a party used against them. Where is that found under the federal rules? At Federal Rule 801. These are exclusions or exemptions. Certain prior inconsistent statements, prior consistent statements, prior identifications, and statements by party opponent. They're not hearsay. They are specifically excluded from the hearsay rules. Therefore, a statement by a party opponent is oftentimes preferred to a hearsay exception. Preference, you say. Meaning it's easier to get it in under 801 than it is under 803 or 804. Absolutely, because 801 is specifically provided for. 803 and 804 are exceptions. They could come in, but there's more hurdles to jump over. There's also the 403 balancing test that could preclude otherwise relevant admissible evidence. 801 is preferred to a hearsay exception. Well, I haven't talked about a hearsay exception yet. What is the hearsay exception then? The declaration against interest. And not only is it a hearsay exception, which remember is not as preferred to the exemption under 801, but it's also an exception that falls under Federal Rule 804. Well, what does Federal Rule 804 require? It requires your declarant to be unavailable. 801, a statement by party opponent, it should feel weird to you that a party is unavailable. Usually 801 is not going to apply to non-parties. 801 is going to deal with statements by party opponent. 804 is going to deal with non-parties. Because if it was a party, we would just say it's a statement by party opponent who is making it, regardless of if it's against their interest or not. But let's say it's a non-party, and it's against their interest when made, and the declarant is unavailable. Then you should be thinking about 804. But my gosh, look at all the hurdles. We need an unavailable declarant who is a non-party, and it was against their penal, pecuniary, or proprietary interest when it was made. That's a lot of hurdles for admissibility. I'm not saying that it doesn't come in, but I'm saying it's much easier to get something in if it's by a party used against them, rather than if it is a statement by a witness. Either one could come in, but between a declaration or a statement against interest and a statement by party opponent is preferred. And one last little wrinkle, just intuitively think about this. Anything that comes out of the mouth of a party used against them, that's a statement by party opponent. It does not have to be against their interest when made. A declaration against interest must automatically, immediately subject them to penal, pecuniary, or proprietary interest. You could go to jail, you could lose property, you could lose money, automatically required for 804, whereas 801 does not have that requirement. Big distinction between them. But keep that straight in your mind and know that 801 is preferred to 804. Statement by party opponent is going to be a cleaner form of admissibility than a arguably equally correct declaration against interest. 801 versus 804. Keep those distinct in your mind and you'll do well regardless of the exam, regardless of if it's a multiple choice question or an essay.